Who's ready? Let's do some. Who's ready for some? Yes, blessed. Oh, I smell the barbecue. The sun was just out through that patch, and I was gonna say, boom, baby, boom, rise and shine, even when it's not shiny, even when it's kind of cloudy. Oh man, these trees are looking hella springy, bro. Every one of them is now spring has sprung. It's a beautiful day to be alive. I'm here at the rich guy's house. We hung out yesterday. This morning I woke up and he was smoking right out the window. I was like, okay, new best friend, calm down. That's a red flag. And then we're gonna have to talk about how life is a red flag and how this weather is shitty right now. It needs to clear the fuck up so I can go for a workout. But yeah, let's roll this morning motivation. You already know it's Saints addiction, and we're gonna get into it this morning, shall we? So yeah, life is a red flag, bro. You know, it didn't help that I was chauffeur for the rich man and his drunk friend yesterday, right? And he kept saying "fuck you" and "shut the fuck up" and all sorts of really demeaning things, you know. And not to me, but to other people. Yeah, go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want, phone. Yeah, and I was like, you know, not for nothing. Everybody has red flags. Like, it wasn't just like I'm sitting here perfect and I can judge him. I'm gonna just tell you, I know why you don't have many friends, you know? And also, some of the things that I see or sent, you know, I was also, this is a red flag for me. You know, everybody wants to be red flag free, but I'm have news for you. You're a red flag. Life is full of red flags, and you'll never experience anything if you're afraid of red. I'm just putting it out there. If you're always waiting for go, there's no motivation that can get you to go. There will be no creation without motion. You know, like you aren't going to get a spark or an influence or a phone's blown up right now, or any kind of inspiration from just sitting and masturbating and sedating and hoping for a risk-free world. You know, there's the paranoid that live out there. They're like, oh man, I gotta have a gun. The next door neighbor was paranoid. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but he's paranoid that people will steal from him. And in his paranoia, he wanted to act tough and cool, and then he actually exposed himself. You know, you're a red flag, bro. Your neighbor's a red flag. Can't even smoke a joint outside because your neighbors might find out, and then they might call 911. And then I'd have a bunch of red flags outside with the red and blues. You know what I mean? So, red light, green light, you need to stop thinking like that. Black or red, you know, you need to stop thinking like that. This is not this kind of morning motivation. This is literally everything has red, everything has black. There's the whole color of the world, and that's what makes it beautiful. You know what I mean? This is the, what is it they say? Variety is the spice of life, and you have to put spices in there. It might get a little hot like my Thai food last night, but isn't that the enjoyment? It might be a little risky to have sex in public. Isn't that the enjoyment? Or are you just gonna play it safe, keep the lights off, and do missionary the rest of your life? I got news for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one, and bitching ain't one, and scars are one, and the scars of my hands, and the learning, and the curvature, and the blood, the sweat, and the tears. I talk about it all the time, but that's the mix of the mud, bro. That's where you mix it up. You got to mix it up in the mud. I get it out in the mud. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm about to get some Kevin Gates. Rock my river wrist. Rock them on the flip. You know what I mean? You got to get it out the mud. And in the mud is blood, sweat, tears, hog shit, dog shit, fucking pig shit, you name it, bro. There's a lot of us that have to get through the shit pipe of Shawshank Redemption to be the evolution that I can scream, I love my life, and roll around in electric vehicles and then electric scooters. And I had his car, bro. I had a whole brand new $100,000 Volkswagen, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and I was whipping it yesterday, just going everywhere. Whip, 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 whip. What I did also see is someone that wanted to get sober. That was interesting. Hey, how long you been sober? Can you teach me how to be sober? I'm like, I teach everybody every day how to be sober every morning on how I don't relapse and how Had the one beer. I had the one beer sit with my friend, and I could feel it flush. I could feel myself start to sweat, pee a lot. Like the whole thing started to kick in again, and I was just like, "Isn't this funny? How we swallow our addictions, right? Like most people be judgmental if you're injecting it into your veins, but literally we're orally fixated. Right now, I'm lung fixated. Let's call it lung fixated because I can't think of the word right now, but be able to say I want to swallow my dopamine. I want to smoke my dopamine. I want to taste it. Maybe it's food, so you're tasting it. Maybe it's smoke, so you're inhaling it. Maybe it's alcohol, so you're drinking it. And you're just saying, as long as it comes into my mouth and it tastes good and I feel sensations, I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, what it was like some kind of snuff. I remember the movie was Snowpiercer, and it looked like some I don't even know what it looked like. It just looked like something that you would put in the bottom of a toilet bowl, you know what I mean? And the dude was just completely hooked on it. Didn't say a word. There was no actions out of him, but he did as little speaking as possible in his role in this movie. But also, it was one of those situations where I also started to realize, like, that's what it's like shutting down your feelings or avoiding situations or trying to be perfect. And I'm here to tell you, it'll never be perfect. You can't wait for inspiration, and it's all covered in red flags, bro. The girl that you need to learn that lesson from, she was a red flag, but it's also something experienced, right? So it's one of these things where you're trying to avoid maybe people that you think are toxic. Well, maybe that toxic lesson was there for you to learn. This is a hard take because most people are like, oh my God, I saw the red flags and I should have been paying attention. And it was just like, dude, you can pay attention. You can sit in school all day and not get nothing but a life lesson. A life lesson. Oh, I should have learned that. Oh, I didn't know. Well, shit, now you already got a baby daddy and now you're going to find out. Right? Like a lot of us are just like, man, I wish that never happened. And it's like you're hating on the game. That's it. I'm blowing my hot air all over this joint and it just almost tried to blow away. Yep. You're hating on the game. And instead of smiling that you're even participating, you're mad that you got dirt on your jersey. Like you're supposed to be clean after a football game anyway. This is that glory. This is that sacrifice. This is us in our lives going like, do I risk any of my balls on this table called life? Do I put them on black or do I put them on red? And even if it's a red flag, you're still betting on red. The person you weren't supposed to marry, the trip you weren't supposed to go on, the accident that happened, all part of the plan. All part of the plan. And I'm here to tell you, there is a plan to it. You don't want to be part of that plan, but it's called development, right? Just like in adolescence, you didn't want your teeth to get buck wild, but they needed to grow in so they wouldn't look like baby teeth, right? And you don't want your baby titties. You're like, no, 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 no. You got to get little hairs on your balls, don't you? That's called maturation. It's called maturing. And that's what I did. I watched these mature adults act like children, and I went like, they haven't grown up at all. You know what I mean? They haven't grown up at all. They're still chasing tail. They're still arguing with their friends. They're still infighting with stupid people. And I just was just like, wow, even if you're rich, right? And this guy's wealthy, it still isn't going to buy you happiness. You still can't go over and make people be your friends. And if you treat them like shit, they're not going to want to hang out with you, not for all the money in the whole world. And that's the situation at hand. We're in a situation where people that are supposed to be the happiest people on earth, right? Here in Finland, where is your happy? He kept arguing, where is the happy? And it's like, well, you're not going to find it at the end of a bottle. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just here to tell you, looking for my solutions at the bottom of the bottle. It ain't it. Trying to find some self-esteem through some steam ain't it either. Blowing off some steam isn't going to give me some self-esteem. It's just going to get me blown off course, off balance, off my lesson that I needed to learn from it. So some of us are just like very hard-headed, bouncing our head off of the police, the system, the naysayers. You know what I mean? I do all that all the time. I literally bounce my head off of situations and go like, damn, that hurt. But also, what an experience. So it's a headset that I was taking before this whole experience, before I ever traveled, before I ever went live. And I was just like, damn, man, I'm a mistake master, bro. Like I'm like going to fucking South Korean prison. I'm going to Ensenada prison, bro. Like I've done some things that I was just like, this is extremely intense. And that's what you want from your life. You want intensity, just like the flavors, just like the Thai food I ate last night. You know, you want it to pop, otherwise it's just another noodle, right? Otherwise it's just another life, right? Like it's just another day. Unless you put some excitement into it, unless you light the flame, unless you go on the roller coaster ride, it'll forever be the same. It'll just be like days go by, next thing you wake up and you're just old. Stories were untold, life was unlived, and nothing's going to change because nothing's changed. You know what I mean? No new experiment was enacted. Nobody wanted to lose the first rocket, not the second rocket, not the third rocket. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to put any skin in the game. They want everything to be flawless victory. And I'm here to tell you, I'm a flawed victory. You know what I mean? Like that's what this is. This is victory through flaws. This is failing forward. This is figuring it out. Like there it is. Figure it out. In our lives, we're going to have to figure it out. Not everything's so fucking romantic and not everything's so accurate and not everything's so full. You're going to have to figure out your red flags too. I got news for you. This isn't surrender. No, this is red flag situation. Like you have your own red flags. What are my red flags? Here, let me go out here and smoke with you. One of my red flags, probably smoking the tobacco before I get with my friend and then I smell like a cloud of smoke. He don't like that red flag. How about that I can get mad and block someone and never talk to him again? Happens to me too, Or what are my other red flags? Oh man, I'm horrible at relationships, cheating on girls or not telling the full truth or manipulating situations so that they go my way. Guilty number 2, 3, and 4. And you keep counting them and more. And then you stop pointing at other people and saying that they're the red flag and start looking at yourself as a big red flag. You got all sorts of red flags. You probably don't know it. Being demeaning to people. Homeboy didn't even know it. He kept telling them, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And if you keep telling everybody fuck you and shut the fuck up, then soon nobody talks to you, right? And no one comes around. And then you're even more lonelier, so then you drink more, asking me like, how are you going to get me some sober? You got to get yourself sober, homie. You're talking about the thing that happened 10 years ago. Like, I think his dad passed away or some shit happened. And it's like, so you've been drinking for 10 years for that excuse? It's almost like my buddy, so you won't do the 10 pieces of paperwork to become a millionaire? I'm like, yeah, I got to keep it real, right? You know what I mean? I probably should do the work and do the things that need to get done so that I can become what I need to become. And this is the whole situation at its crutch, at its finest, is for us to come to the light of our own reality and realization that it's not going to be perfect. Each one of us has 12 zodiac signs, right? Each one of us has shortcomings. Each one of us has something that we're not proud of, As much as I want to be tall girls want to be short. And all the skinny ones want to have titties. And all the dudes want to have bigger dicks. And all the bigger dicks get limp. There's not enough blood in their system to get hard. So we're all jealous of something. Like, I'm jealous of this guy's house. But his neighbors are scary people, Or I'm jealous of this guy's girl. But she beats him in the end. You're getting your red flags confused with lessons. Life has them. And they're a blessing. Because somebody that's been through some shit is a rock star. You know what I mean? You're built by it. Now it's undeniable, irrefutable, and undisputable. When you've been rock starring it out, when you've been created your world, this is the thing that I seek. These are the situations that are at hand, Welcome me in my morning motivation. You're going to have to figure it out, bro. That's why it's one of our shirts, but figure it out is a shirt. Yeah, I came up the path this way yesterday, and I was only off by a little bit, by 5-10 yards, because the path goes right here, but it comes up to them. And they're screaming at me, stop, don't come. And I'm like, look how far away I am from you. I'm at least 50 yards away, but they were scared. They're scared of their yard. They're scared of neighbors. They're scared of everything. And it's just like, are you really free? Are you really red flag free? Everybody's, that's a red flag. Yeah, so somebody that's pointing and judging and not forgetting that there's 4 fingers pointing back at them. Look at him. Stop being like, he's a red flag, and start identifying your red flags, you know? Stop talking about how'd you get sober and asking yourself, how can you get sober? He asking me, ask yourself. You know, that's the red flag of it all. You know, you're going to have red flags. You're going to have mistakes. I'm the mistake master. Look, there it goes. What's up, Rima? Morning, bro. And that's what it is. Huh? Oh, I can't hear you. Chicken? Yeah, maybe. You're barbecuing? Barbecue. Look, this is my rich new friend right here. And he's barbecuing for me. Every morning, Chef is giving me food. Yes, Chef. You know what I mean? But we're gonna have to talk about his attitude. We're gonna talk about the fuck yous and the telling your friends to shut the fuck up. And no wonder why you're so lonely. Even when he came at me, I don't trust people like you. I said, don't say phrases like that. That's a red flag in itself. You don't trust me, I don't trust you. And these are the things that we perpetrate. We put them out in our lives and we're like, oh, it's always someone else to blame. You know, it's not. It's not someone else to blame. It's for you to see. The blame is for children. Adults have to figure it out. They have to put some concentration on it and say, oh shit, maybe that's my childhood. Maybe it's that thing that happened 10 years ago. Maybe you don't want to hang out with your neighbor. Then when I took these guys out yesterday, his friend came by and was like, or the neighbor came by. Now he was all dressed up and wanted to shake hands and stuff. But his friend was like, no, don't call him over here. Don't call him over here. Shit. Oh, hi. You know, we're all doing the, oh, hi, after we talk shit, right? We're all quick to place blame and point fingers, but we're not about it. And this is why Saint's Addiction got created. I had to get into my own addictions and say, all right, Saint, what is it? Well, it could be anything. It could be avoidance. It could be distraction. It could be regret. I could pile a fucking fuck ton of shit that should have stopped me right in front of you and say, yeah, that's why I quit. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about quitting red flags, but you haven't quit any of your red flags. And odds are, you probably can't even erase some of your red flags, bro. You're a whole ass red flag and you won't even notice it. But there's plenty of people out there trying to hide it, make up, hiding their real face, making up for lost aesthetics, trying to catch up with other people, trying to compare themselves with motherfuckers. It never works, bro. It never works. If you're always trying to identify somebody else's shit, but you don't want to identify your own shit, then you don't have Saint's Addiction. You don't have the focus it takes to have development. And that's what it all is. All of us have to develop. We have to mature. It's maturate. And once you mature, like these older dudes that I'm hanging with, then you receive the lessons, then you receive the blessings, then you receive perspective. And that is stronger than anything. Because right now you only have perception. The perception that you can judge someone else or that you're judgmental, that's a perception, homie. That's not the perspective that you want. You want to find the perspective of happiness. Getting away from your own turmoil and your own shortcomings and your own distractions, because that's what it is. If we really had to point it out and you took away your personality and you took away your opinions and you took away all these feelings, then you just have science. Then you would literally scientifically sit there and go, oh, that's my genetics, or that, what's up, bro? Nice to meet you. There's his son. You know, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a perspective. And then once you have a healthy perspective, nothing can stop you. You know, once you start being healthy with the way that you talk to other people or the way that you react to things, then you're going to have a real reaction. And that's what this is about. It's about figuring it out. You're going to have to figure out your life, you know, your direction, and your attitude. You're going to have to figure it out and say, is this my mood or is this my tude? Is this my situation or is this my destination? Is this the type of thing that's creating me or is it manipulating me? And that's what people have to figure out. You know, see, I took 2 paths. They're only 5 yards apart. I didn't know. I came back up a path and I was just in his backyard and kind of a bit lost, and a bit high. So he stay there. I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? And he walked me over. Oh, your friend. Oh, yeah, then we'll have a beer and all these other things. But, you know, healthy perspective. To get healthy, I'm going to have to examine my habits. I'm going to have to examine myself and my life and put that underneath the microscope, and let's start looking at that. So easy to look outwardly, right? I went up this way instead of this way. That's where I got lost. But yeah, man, I mean, it's that simple. It's off by a degree. Here, let me show you. I'll show you. I came down this path and they have their own path. And when I came up the wrong path, you know, I found a new path. And it was simple as that, you know, as simple as this path right here goes up to the house and this path goes up to their house. It's only off by a couple degrees. You know what I mean? Look at this. I was only off by a little bit, bro. And guess what? Guy was tripping. And this is what it is. Life is like that. Maybe you got on the wrong train, but then maybe you found your new wife, right? Maybe you walked into the wrong class, but then you found your new passion, right? Like, you know what I mean? There's so many things that are out there for us as people that we consider detrimental or not what we wanted or whatever else you want to call it. But guess what? It's a hell of an adventure. This is a hell of a story to tell. All the cool stories that you like have action. All the movies that we watch have drama. All the TV shows are fucking crazy, and that's what we like. We want a little crazy. All the little girls, they want a little bad boy. All the boys want to be bad boys so they can get bad girls. And then you're over here going like, how did it happen? And it was just like, you chased your father. Huh? You married your mother. What? Yeah, you're just like them. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? And when it falls, it definitely falls. And we're all going to fall. We're all going to be falling our fucking selves, falling all over ourselves, falling all over our emotions, falling all over our life, and just going, why do I always fail? Well, if you're going to fall, fail forward. You know what I mean? Get a couple extra yards out of it. Oh, yeah, here comes the sunshine. Find the reason why that lesson came to you. Instead of cursing the lesson, call it a blessing. Instead of start stressing, relax. Let this happen. This is part of the transformation. This is part of your maturation. It's the cocoon. You know, you're gonna have to break free of the hard shell, just like a crab, just like a lobster, just like a crawfish, so that new soft shell can come out. Now you're a soft shell crab. Now you've molted. Now you've shed this shell and said, you know, that's the old me, the old version of me, not this, I'm always in turmoil, or I'm always to blame, or something's always going wrong. No, now you can go right. You know, when things go wrong, then you can go right. When things aren't on the level, you can go get balance. When you get out of sorts, start sorting it. See it, say it, sort it. You know, most people, they don't want to see it, and they definitely don't want to say it, and they definitely don't want to sort it. They want to hunt me down in London, right? When I was there, right there at the York train station. Let me go up the right path this time so I don't have any situations. You can watch that from yesterday. And I can figure out why I have pain. or why I have turmoil or why I have depression. Most people want to swallow a pill or see a psychologist or put it on someone outside of themselves and say, you know what, I'm gonna let a psychologist figure me out, or instead of me figuring me out, I'm gonna fucking let somebody else be in control of the situation at hand. And I'm not like that. I want to be in the control of my own situation. I want to be in control of my own destiny. I want to be in control of my own story. It's what it is, and you have to decide. You're like, am I just a sailing ship just spinning around on my wheels, just been out in an ocean and I don't know where my destination's going to be? I think not. I think I'm going to be the type of person that's a captain, that reads the stars, that reads the waves, that reads the birds. That's how the Polynesians went from island to island. They watched the waves go around. They watched the currents. They identified the birds that could fly the farthest and how far they could go. And some of these birds are like, hey, that means I'm 20 kilometers away from land. These stars mean that they're in alignment, and that if I read them, then I can get into my next destination. What a fucking fantastic thing. These are dudes in boats, bro. Before sails, they just literally went from every island in Polynesia, from Sumatra to Samoa to the Hawaii. All these guys read the world, and then they learned. And it's like, you got to be able to have to learn how to read the world. You need to learn how to read yourself. This is the biggest red flag that's out there, is that people don't want to read. They want to say read. Are you on red? Did you get left on red, or did you get left on read? And I read a lot. I read a lot of self-help books. I read a lot of personal development. I read a lot about AI as well. But it's about development, and a lot of us don't want to go do the homework. We don't want to go home and work. We want to go home and bitch about work. We want to talk about all the people at work and why they're so bad, and this coworker sucks, and this coworker did this to me, and all these things, instead of, why am I at this place? Why do I work here? You know what I mean? I told my friend, it's sucking up your energy. You know what I mean? You're taking your work home with you, and now your home experience isn't safe or comfortable, and now it's bled into your life. And I just had to tell these people that, look, corporations will let you die, roll your body into the machine, and put somebody else next to you, right where you used to be. And this is why I keep saying, you're taking things so seriously, and your corporation can fire you so quickly. And this is what it is. These are the situations at hand. So you got to have to decide in your life, if you're going to be a red flag, or you're going to find a way to go around the red flags and try to be an avoidant and be like, no, nothing's happening with me. Everybody else is a red flag. I can figure out everybody else's red flag but my own. And I'm like, dude, everyone's a red flag. You're a red flag. It's all covered in red flags. And like the guy said, you can't nerf the world, bro. You can't just put on some fucking foam around the world. It was like what was it called? Full House. We used to watch it back in the day. And Full House, he would say, she's getting her driver's license, but I did the calculations, and there's not enough foam in the world to cover all of San Francisco when she was first learning how to drive. And it's just like that. You can't foam the world. You can't put it in bumper cars. You're going to have to bump into some things. I'm just here to tell you, and somebody's going to bump into you too. This is life. C'est la vie, such is life. And it's high time that you figure out what you're about. Not what other people's red flags are and how to avoid situations. You can't avoid every situation, dude. They're coming for you. You can't avoid death. It's coming for you. It's the adage of the Buddha, when he was just like, I didn't see anybody get old. I didn't see anybody get sick. I didn't see anybody die. Then he hopped the wall, and he started to see poverty, and he started to see destruction, and he started to see addiction. And he was just like, oh shit, this isn't what the life that I saw. Everybody was so pretty in the castle and so nice to me, and got out, and nobody gave a fuck about you, and they started treating you like a regular citizen. Then you see, that's the dying of the light. That's what we're fighting against. People that don't know how to live, people that are stuck in their habits, and people that don't want to develop and mature and maturate. And this is the situation at hand, because if you are really about your growth, you will stop pointing your hand, and you will see how many fingers point back at you, and then you will see that you're a red flag too. If you got anything out of this, you already know. Peace and love. And as always, Chigaton. That means goodbye, but not forever in Finnish. And I'm live from Finland. I'll see you on the other side of the world, like I'm here right now. The other side of your fear, because that's the red. And you got to see the other side of your excuse, because that's what we'll do. We'll fucking put it together in our head so that it fits our emotional status, and then we'll just ignore the rest in cognitive dissonance, just distance from thought. And I'm here to say, let's put the thought in the instance inside of ourselves and say, hey, time for examination. Hey, let's have a conversation. And then that means me and my heart and my mind and my soul, and that needs to talk to itself instead of the outside world. Peace.